What's going on, guys? Hope y'all are having a good day. This is Dustin. You're watching the life of Dustin and Allison. I'll be posting this video to YouTube and Facebook. If you're finding this video on YouTube, do me and my wife a favor and hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our channel. We've got about 200 subscribers right now. We're trying to grow in our subscriber count. I post college football videos all the time. I post videos on my faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ all the time. And me and my wife do vlogs all the time. You'll love our YouTube channel. You'll love our videos. We have a wide array of things to offer here. And today, just want to tell you to like and subscribe and tap the bell. Leave a comment on what you think. You know, I go through every week and do my preview and prediction videos for whoever the Georgia Bulldogs are going to be playing for the upcoming week. And coming up this week soon will be the Mississippi State Bulldogs. So be looking for that video. But this video today is going to be me getting on a soapbox a little bit. I'm going to be addressing negative Georgia fans. Some of the most negative fans I've ever been around or seen in my whole life. I'm telling you, I was born and raised a Georgia fan. My dad, my granddads, my stepdad, all of my uncles, everybody in my family from the time that I could breathe were diehard Georgia fans. I was raised on it. You know, around the time when I was in my early teenage years, or like 12, 13, 14, I really fell in love with Georgia football around the years when Georgia had the really good running back Noshawn Marino and Aaron Murray and guys like Muhammad Massaquoi and A.J. Green. The blackout game at Auburn is when I really fell in love with Georgia football. You know, when Noshawn Marino hurdled the guy and did a full split over the top of the Central Michigan's player's head. That's when I really fell in love with Georgia football. You know, around the time I was 12 or 13 years old. And I've literally watched this team go from what it was under Mark Richt, you know, being a really, really, really good football team every year, you know, 11-1, 10-2, every year finishing inside the top 10. Every year, you know, Georgia would one year be number 3, one year would be number 12, one year would be number 8, one year would be number 1, would win a lot of good bowl games, but could never quite get over the hump of becoming the greatest team in college football. They were always, and always have been, over the course of history since the Georgia Bulldogs have been established, you know, throughout the history of the annals of time, they've always been a top 10 program. I mean, top 15 at the worst most years. And a lot of times under Mark Richt, Georgia was a top 5 program, a top 3 program even. But they never could just quite solidify themselves as the number 1 program in the country. And when Kirby Smart took over in 2016, he elevated this program into what it is today. And now they are the top program in the nation. They are the greatest team in the country. When people think of, you know, what they want to be or who they're going to have to beat to win it all, I believe that they think about the Georgia Bulldogs. I believe when they think of the greatest team in the sport, I believe that they see in their minds the red helmet and the black G on the side. I believe it. I love this team. I'm telling you right now, number 1 in my life is Jesus Christ. He saved my soul. He set me free. And he can do the same for you. Number 2 in my life is my wife, Allison. And if you go back on our YouTube channel and subscribe, you'll see all of the videos we do. And literally, and quite literally, number 3 in my life is the Georgia Bulldogs. I am a die-hard college football fan, as many of you are in the Southeast. I live, breathe, eat, and sleep Georgia football. I love the Georgia Bulldogs. There's not one thing that I don't know about them. I study them almost to a point where sometimes I feel convicted about it. I love this team. I love my state. I love where I live. I never went to the University of Georgia. You know, if I could go back to middle school and start over, I would do a lot of things different, and I may try to actually make good grades, and try to go to the University of Georgia, you know, and try to get a degree from there and actually be even a deeper part of it. But I do love this football team, and I do love my state, and I do have a lot of pride in it. And you know, I've seen them literally become the greatest team in college football today, right now. In 2024, the Georgia Bulldogs, yes, today they're ranked number 5. They lost to Alabama 2 weeks ago, and they dropped them to number 5. You know, they got teams right now, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, that are undefeated right now. And they're dropped to number 5. But I'm just telling you, as of right now, you know, you could ask any fan base in the entire world, who would you rather play inside of the top 5 right now? And I can guarantee you, now there are those fans that want to play the best, but I guarantee you, if you took a national poll right now and said, out of all the teams in the top 5 right now, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, Penn State, or Georgia, which team would scare you the most? It wouldn't be Oregon, and it wouldn't be Penn State, and it wouldn't be Texas, and it wouldn't be Ohio State. Everybody would say Georgia would scare me the most. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of hearing all the negativity. I'm sick and tired of hearing all the negative Georgia fans bickering 24/7 just about anything and everything. It doesn't matter what happens in any game. It's always a problem. It's always an issue. It's always Mike Bobo. It's always Kirby Smart. It's always something. Guys, I'm over it. Like I'm so over it. I'm not trying to be mean. I know there's people that'll see this video. You don't even care what I have to say, and that's fine. I'm just trying to tell you where I'm coming from. There's a lot of people out there, and granted, people have lives, people have jobs, people have kids and obligations and things going on in their lives. A lot more important than college football. This is, at the end of the day, this is just football. I mean, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal in the Southeast. I know a lot about this sport. I know a lot about this team. I'm not what you call an average fan. There's a lot of people out there, guys, Georgia fans, any fan base. There's a lot of people out there. When it really comes down to it, when you really boil it down to the basics. And when I say this, I'm talking about 90 to 95% of people, just normal, everyday people. They don't really know football. Okay, they don't really know ball. They don't really understand what football really is. Yes, they see the game. They see the score. They know what a touchdown is. They know what an interception is. They know what it looks like. They know how to say, wow, we can't run the ball well today. Wow, we're not tackling well today. Dang, we're playing bad on special teams today. But other than that, that's as far as it goes. And they don't really know the inner workings and the intertwinings of what football actually is. 11 guys on 11 guys fighting a war in the trenches and on the football field. And how much chaos is going on the football field, and how much of a method. There's a method to the madness, okay? When you watch a football game on TV and the camera is elevated, 50 feet over the players, it all looks nice, neat, and organized. And you can see everything at one time. But if you've ever played football, you know that when they snap the ball and you're actually eye level on the field with the rest of the players and the other team, it's absolute chaos. Pads are popping, helmets are getting clacked. You're trying to do your job. Everybody has to do their job. I'm just trying to say there's a lot to it, guys. And there's a lot of people out there that just do not know ball. They just do not know football. It's like the Georgia fans have pre-decided before the game even starts what they're trying to complain about. And yes, 80 to 90% of the fan base, it's Mike Bobo. Okay? It's Mike Bobo. The reason that Georgia does anything bad or doesn't do anything good or the main complaining point is Mike Bobo. It's all the time. It's after every game. It's completely illegitimate, guys. I mean, people were literally, Alabama put Georgia down 28-0 by the middle of the second quarter. And people were blaming Mike Bobo. The only reason they were blaming Mike Bobo is because they don't know the name of the defensive coordinator. Most Georgia fans know two people, Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo. And all they do is they look around and they see everybody else complaining about it. And that's all they know to say. And it's just, it's so old. Guys, people say all the time, well, I lived through the days when we had Mike Bobo as an offensive coordinator back in the early 2000s. Guys, when Georgia had Mike Bobo as an offensive coordinator in the early 2000s, do you know how many points a game he averaged? I looked at this a while back. I can't remember the exact the date that Mike Bobo became the offensive coordinator and the date that he left Georgia. But in that time, in over the course of years, do you know how many points Georgia averaged on offense? The same exact number of points they average on offense today. 41 points a game. Mike Bobo averaged 41 points a game at his first stint at Georgia. Georgia would literally lose football games 42-40, and people would be complaining about Mike Bobo. Guys, if you're scoring 40 points a game and you can't win, it's not an offensive coordinator problem. Everybody was talking about Mike, well, not necessarily so much in the Alabama game, because people do understand ball to a little bit of an extent to realize that it was really a full team losing effort. But there were still those people complaining about Mike Bobo. Guys, in the Alabama game, he put up 519 yards of total offense and scored 34 points, while his team turned the football over 4 times. I don't know of many offensive coordinators that are good enough to put up 520 yards of offense and manage to score 34 points when your team turns the ball over 4 times. That's incredible. The only reason that Georgia was even in that game at the end, the only reason that Georgia came back to take the lead in that game was because of Mike Bobo and because of Carson Beck. Everybody was saying, bench Carson Beck and bring in the backup. Guys, this is ridiculous. What's going on here is we are literally watching the greatest run in Georgia football history. We are quite literally watching. Georgia could be in the midst of being in the middle of the greatest run in college football history. Yes, I'm talking about even surpassing what Alabama has done. I'm not saying they have yet, or they've even done half of that yet, but they are quite literally in the middle. That sounds baffling. That sounds like, no. Alabama's done so much. It would take Georgia just so much. Guys, Kirby Smart and Georgia have already broken. Let's start going through this here. Georgia just won 42 regular season games in a row. Yes, they have struggled in championship games against Alabama and last Saturday. They have an Alabama problem. There's no other way to put it. It's a problem, okay? Georgia has lost. I'm telling you right now, just for comparison's sake, I'm not trying to trash talk Alabama, okay? Because I'll say a stat about Ohio State too. Since 2021, do you realize the Ohio State Buckeyes, they have lost 6 football games since 2021? Go back and look. Do you realize since 2021, the Alabama Crimson Tide has lost 7 football games? Do you know in that same amount of time, since 2021, do you know how many football games Georgia has lost? 3. Half that. Yes, all 3 losses are to Alabama. Okay, but that's besides the point that I'm making. We're getting on the records that Georgia has broken. Guys, they just won 42 regular season games in a row. Nick Saban and Bear Bryant never did that. Georgia just won 28 SEC games in a row in the regular season. Yes, Nick Saban never did that. Georgia just had 3 straight undefeated regular seasons. 12-0. Nobody in the SEC has ever done that. No, not even Nick Saban in Alabama. Not even Bear Bryant in Alabama. Nobody has done that. Georgia has won 2 out of the last 3 national championships. I don't know of any other thing in the sport that you can do better than win a national championship. They've won Georgia is literally 66% in the last 3 years on winning national championships. There isn't a team that they haven't beat. They've beaten everybody in the SEC 2 and even 3 times. They've beaten Alabama. They've beaten LSU. They've beaten Notre Dame. They've beaten Clemson. They've beaten Oregon. They've beaten Michigan. They've beaten Ohio State. They've beaten Florida State. They've beaten everybody multiple times. Go back and look at the top 10 right now and tell me a team that Georgia hasn't beat. Penn State? What do you think would happen if Georgia played Penn State Saturday? What do you think the spread would be on that? You think it'd probably be like Georgia minus 13.5? Kirby Smart just broke the record. Kirby Smart just broke the record for most wins through his first 100 games out of any coach. Any coach, including Bear Bryant, including Nick Saban. This whole negativity, this whole negative thing, every freaking time that Georgia plays football, the fans are so negative and just screaming about everything. And why is Mike Bobo doing that? And why is Mike Bobo doing this? I mean, all they complain about is he runs the ball too much. We come out against Alabama and pass the ball like 12 times in a row. They complain about that. Why ain't we running the ball more? Well, guys, we're losing a football game 28-0, and it's almost halftime. Do you really want to start running the ball and running the clock out? Do you think we're going to run the ball and score? Like I said, the only reason they complain about Mike Bobo is because they don't know the defensive coordinator's name. By the way, when you try to look it up, it's a split responsibility type thing. Georgia doesn't necessarily. I'm sure they have somebody named defensive coordinator, but it's a split responsibility. Okay, Mike Bobo is the offensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator is split between Glenn Schumann, Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart. You know, people want to talk about how good Todd Monken was and why can't Mike Bobo be like Todd Monken. Mike Bobo's averaging the same exact. Todd Monken averaged 41 points a game. Mike Bobo averaged 41 points a game. Todd Monken credited a lot of the schemes that he came up with. He credited a lot of those to Mike Bobo. You know, when Todd Monken was Georgia's offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo was their offensive assistant. And Todd Monken literally come out and said that a lot of the schemes that we run, a lot of these play designs that we have has been inspired by Mike Bobo. Okay? I understand the argument from Georgia fans saying that they've never seen Mike Bobo win the big game. Yes, we can beat everybody, but we just have never won a championship under Mike Bobo. Okay, well, let me tell you. Keep watching. Keep watching this year. And when Georgia wins the SEC championship this year, I don't know what else. I'm going to tell you. I don't know what else to say besides I told you so. Just because something has never happened doesn't, I mean, Georgia went 41 years without winning a national championship, guys, and now they've won 2 out of 3. They should have won it last year, and they're in the top 2. They're in the top 2 or 3 to win it this year. Georgia is in the midst of becoming the greatest ever. I don't understand what people want. Like when you look around, look at Tennessee, look at Alabama, look at Florida, look at LSU, look at Ohio State, look at Michigan. I know Michigan just won the national championship last year, but look at the struggles that they've had I'm talking about over the course of the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Just say the last 5 years. Who has it better than Georgia? Look at Oregon. Look at all the top teams. Who has accomplished more? Who has been better? Georgia has been better than all of those teams. They have accomplished more than all of those teams in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. And it's like the Georgia fans are the most negative fans out of all of them that I talk to. I seen people putting stuff on Facebook after Vanderbilt, and I'm not talking trash. Okay? It's hard to go on the road in the SEC. This ain't your granddaddy's Vanderbilt. I just watched Vanderbilt upset Alabama. And Georgia fans were literally on Facebook and on YouTube comment sections talking about, hey, can we get one of those offensive coordinators from Vanderbilt? It makes me so mad. when I see my team doing so well, doing so great, becoming the greatest, like they're at the top of the mountain. And by the way, they're doing all this in the most difficult to do era. Like there has never been a more competitive era in college football. And now with this transfer portal and NIL and all this stuff leveling the playing field, and this entitled world we live in today where these kids feel like they're owed something. You know, a college degree and being able to play college football on national television isn't quite good enough. You know, it isn't quite enough to make $25,000 to do something like that. They got to make $225,000 doing that, and it's ridiculous. There has never been more stress on head coaches and on programs to win. Okay, this is the hardest era to win in, and Georgia literally does nothing but win. They do nothing but win. In their last, I don't know if this is like, I'm going to be off a game or two here, but quite literally, in Georgia's last 52, I think it's the last 52 ball games. Maybe it's, 53. I think in Georgia's last 53 ball games, they are 50-3. I seen a stat this morning. Since Georgia lost to Georgia Tech at home in 2016, Georgia Bulldogs, since 2016, at home are 43-1. 43-1 in the last 8 years. I'll say it again. Since 2021, Georgia's lost 3 football games. Alabama's lost 7. Ohio State has lost 6. You can't do any better than what you're doing. And you're just steady complaining about it. Kirby Smart, I'm telling you, when Kirby Smart came to the post-game press conference after beating Auburn, and he just said, I was disappointed in the crowd. The crowd wasn't loud enough for a home game. All these fans want to complain about every little thing, but he can't come to the podium and say, the crowd wasn't elite. It wasn't loud. It wasn't loud enough in Sanford Stadium for the Deep South's oldest rivalry, Georgia versus Auburn. He come to the podium and said, guys, I'm just going to let you know that moving forward, with as difficult as this is now, like divisions just went away inside the SEC, and Texas and Oklahoma just joined. Not just Georgia, but everybody. Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Arkansas. Everybody in the SEC now has a much, much more difficult schedule. It's going to be virtually impossible to go undefeated anymore. Guys, this year alone, Georgia is going to end up playing 5 or 6 teams ranked inside the top 10. Basically, they're going to play the entire top 10. Kirby come out and said, I want our fans to be more appreciative of what we do. And when we beat Auburn 31-13, quit complaining. I want our fans to appreciate what we do more, because moving forward, we're not going to win every game, guys. We're not going to win every game. Let's just face it. This day and time, with how the schedules are now, and now you're seeing Tennessee just lost to Arkansas. Alabama just lost to Vanderbilt. The only undefeated team in the SEC is Texas. And guess what? Texas has only played Michigan. And Michigan sucks. They just lost to Washington. Who else did Texas play? Mississippi State. You wait and see what happens when the Georgia Bulldogs come down there in 2 weeks. And I'm just going to tell you, Texas has one of the easier schedules in the SEC this year. In other words, 11-1 is the new 12-0. Like, if you manage to go 11-1, that's amazing. That's amazing. If you go 10-2, that was incredible. Now with these schedules going forward, I'm just trying to say that people need to be more appreciative of what's going on, because I'm telling you, one day it's going to go away. And I'm telling you right now, Kirby Smart loves Georgia. Okay, Kirby Smart grew up in Bainbridge, Georgia. He played high school football, went to school in Georgia. He went to the University of Georgia, became a graduate assistant, and played college football and got a degree from the University of Georgia. He went on to coach at Valdosta State and Florida State and the Miami Dolphins and LSU and Alabama with Nick Saban at LSU and Alabama. He came back to Georgia at his alma mater that he loves, that he literally wants to win more than you. He loves this team. Go back and look at pictures of Kirby Smart from 2016, and now look at him. Look at what stress has done to his body, because he's the ultimate competitor. He's the ultimate competitor. Kirby Smart's got more fight in half of his body than most of us have in our whole bodies. He's the ultimate competitor. He's the ultimate survivor. He wants to win more than we do even. He loves Georgia just as much as we do, okay? They said the other day that when Alabama beat Georgia, a reporter wrote that he had never seen a more disappointed look on Kirby Smart's face after that game. And that man stayed out on that field and hugged and consoled every single one of our players and said, pick your head up. This is far from over. Take the towel off your head, Julian Humphrey, and walk off this field like a man. This man loves Georgia football. He wants to win. Do you seriously think that if Georgia bringing in their second-string quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, would have helped Georgia in the Alabama game, but he wouldn't have done it? Do you seriously think there's people commenting saying that, well, Mike Bobo and Kirby Smart are like best friends, so that's why he had to hire him? This man's making $13 million a year to coach college football. He's not worried about friends. And I'm sure him and Mike Bobo are friends. And you know what? Mike Bobo was a quarterback for Georgia. And Mike Bobo loves Georgia as well. And Mike Bobo is doing I'll be the one to say it, Mike Bobo is doing a jam-up job. To have lost Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, and to lose all that he lost, and last year and this year to still average as many points as they were averaging under Todd Monken. In my opinion, I think that Mike Bobo so far has done a better job than Todd Monken. Yes, that's what I believe. And I understand he's never won the big game at Georgia. He's never won the... Okay. Well, just keep watching then. I don't know what else to tell you. Because the reason that Georgia didn't win the big game when Mike Bobo was the offensive coordinator wasn't all on Mike Bobo. It's just the only person that you knew the name of. This plane's doing... Are they flying around? Or are they flying around cloud seeding? They're flying around affecting the weather. Y'all ain't seen about that cloud seeding? Look it up. I'm just saying that we got to be more appreciative, guys. This is the greatest thing that Georgia's ever done. They're like 55-3. They've won the last 2 out of 3 national championships. Their head coach is breaking every record known to man. The team is breaking every record known to man. 43-1 at home since 2016. 42-game win streak in the regular season. 28 SEC games in a row. Dominating college football. The days where Georgia comes out and blows teams out 47-3, and comes out and blows out Florida 55-0, and comes out and blows out Auburn 42-7, and comes out and blows out Tennessee 47-10. Those days are over. Okay, the playing field has been leveled. They're not only doing a great job, Mike Bobo, Kirby Smart, and the whole staff, the whole University of Georgia, they're doing a better job than anybody's doing. I'm going to tell you something right now. I seen Kirby Smart after that game, after Auburn. And he was proud of his team for the win and proud of what they've done. He's not going anywhere. I'm not saying it like that. I seen disappointment in his eyes. Can you imagine fighting that hard to be that good and giving your soul to be the best team in college football and your fans don't appreciate it? That would make me not want to do it. That would make me not want to do a good job. That would make me not care as much. And he keeps on going. I seen disappointment in his eyes in that post-game press conference. And I'm telling you what you're going to do. You're going to keep on being negative, and you're going to keep on being negative. You're going to keep on being negative. And Kirby Smart's going to win about 2 or 3 more championships and ride off into the sunset and say, to heck with it. I'll give my life to this team. We've won 5 or 6 national championships in the last 15 years, and all these fans can do is complain. Man's making $13 million a year. He's got 3 kids. They play t-ball, soccer, tennis, everything. When he looks up in his bank account one day and sees he's got $50 million, he might just want to go watch his kids play t-ball. He might just want to go take his wife to the beach. He might just want to go take his wife to the mountains. We need to start appreciating every single win that we get. moving forward. Every single win. If we beat Florida, that's a good win. If we beat Auburn, that's a good win. We beat Vanderbilt. We beat Mississippi State this weekend. That's an SEC football win. Mark Richt said the other day, I heard him on a show that I watched, Dog Nation Daily. He was on there with Brandon Adams. He said, Brandon, the first thing that I learned, and God bless Mark Richt, that man's a good man. And you know what? People talk so much crap about him too. It's all that Georgia fans know how to do is be negative. You're gonna push Kirby Smart out the door. The man's gonna win another championship or two. I'm just telling you, he was disappointed. He was disappointed. He doesn't talk about stuff, okay? He's not Lane Kiffin. He's not Hugh Freeze. He doesn't get out here talking about a bunch of... there is one thing I do like about Deion Sanders and Coach Prime. I like it when he says, cut the bull junk. Cut the bull junk. Kirby Smart doesn't play reindeer games. And when he comes out and says, after the Alabama loss, that's all I seen last week. It's all I heard on social media, on every platform, on every radio show, on everything. It's all was a bunch of negativity. And it's bringing him down. It's bringing him down. He's going to keep going. He's going to keep fighting because he's a competitor. But you're going to run him out of there. You're going to run him out of there. Forgot what I was saying before I said that, but I'm going to tell you something about these Alabama fans and these Georgia fans. Even though, and I know there's a lot of bandwagon Georgia fans this day and time, because they've been so good that people can't help but want to root for them. While the real fans are being negative and talking about, well, I just don't understand. I don't understand why we're just keep on running that same play again. I just can't understand why we didn't run the ball more when we were down 4 touchdowns to Alabama at halftime. I just can't understand why we're doing that. I just can't understand why we're beating one of our biggest rivals, Auburn, 31-13. We should have beat them 41-10. We shouldn't be winning by 3 touchdowns against our biggest rival. There's a lot of fake Alabama fans. There's a lot of Alabama fans that don't have any tie to the program. But I'm going to tell you something about them. I got to thinking about this the other day. Negativity is a disease. It's a disease. And I think that the Georgia fans are eat up with the disease that is negativity. One thing these Alabama fans, you can say about them, they believe in their team. They believe that they're going to win. They no matter what. If they play Georgia tomorrow, they believe that they're going to win the game. Now, they're all coming up out of the trailer parks after Kalen DeBoer this morning. But they believe they're going to win. And Georgia just don't believe that. Our fans don't. Our players and our coaches do, and that's why they're the greatest team in college football right now. But their fans don't think like that. Their fans look at everything negatively as possible. And I'm telling you, Dustin Harper here living in Sharpsburg, Georgia, I'm one man. Me being negative ain't going to change a whole lot. Somebody being negative in Douglasville, Georgia ain't going to change a lot. But when it's everybody I run into is just got something negative to say, and something bad to say about Mike Bobo, and something bad to say about Kirby Smart, I don't know what else you want them to do. Yeah, I don't know what else the Georgia fans want. Perfection is not an option. This is freaking football. These are kids that are anywhere from 17 to 23 years old playing with a ball. The Georgia fans don't believe they're going to win. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of these fan bases out here, they don't see a way that they're going to lose. They just believe they're going to win. Teams like Alabama, teams like Nebraska, teams like Tennessee, they believe they're going to win. And they get behind their team and they push with everything they got. And guess what? That positivity inside their heart, it trickles down. It trickles down all the way to the football team. It trickles down all the way inside the locker room. That positive winning spirit. That no matter what, we got each other. And the negativity around Georgia fans trickles all the way down to the locker room. It trickles all the way down to it's starting to trickle all the way down to the head coach. And that negative vibe of, we just don't see how we're going to win. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. I get mad when Georgia loses. I get mad when it seems like we're running a play that ain't working. And I can't understand why we're going back to that. But you know what? These coaches have forgotten more about football than I will ever know. I believe that they know what they're doing. I believe that there's a reason behind the things that they're doing. You know what? I just want to watch Georgia win the national championship this year and be able to not talk about, well, it was close. Well, we still lost to Alabama in the regular season. You know, we'll literally come back and beat Alabama. And by the way, if you're still watching this video, don't forget to subscribe. But here's my prediction. I think it's going to be Georgia and Texas A&M in the SEC championship. Georgia could literally come back and beat Alabama in the SEC championship and then beat them in the playoffs. Go 2 out of 3 against them. And the Georgia fans will still be being somehow negative about it. I'm telling you, the Georgia fans are something else. They can take anything and spin it around into negativity. People were being negative last week because Vanderbilt upset Alabama, saying, well, Vanderbilt can beat them, why can't we? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. You better worry about Mississippi State this weekend. And then you better worry about Texas next week. And then you better go into your bye week getting ready for Florida. Because guess what? It's the SEC. And the Florida Gators and the Auburn Tigers, they're not that good right now. But you know what? They got 300-pounders on the lines of scrimmage, and they got athletes out there out wide. And any given Saturday, you come into that game just a little bit off, and they'll beat you. That's what happened to Alabama this weekend. That's what happened to Tennessee this weekend. Tennessee went down there ranked number 4 in the country. And they went down there and played a 3-2 Arkansas. But guess what? They went on the road. They went into that snake pit that is an SEC road game. And Arkansas had their backs against the wall. And Arkansas didn't have anything to lose. And they threw the kitchen sink at them, and they come out and hit them in the face mask. Tennessee didn't respond well, and they lost the game. It's going to happen to Georgia. It's going to happen to Tennessee. It's going to happen to Alabama. It's going to happen to especially teams in the SEC. Say what you want to, Ohio State. You play Michigan and Iowa and Penn State. Your season is Michigan and Penn State, and it's over. You play Rutgers, Nebraska, Purdue, Wisconsin, Illinois. Georgia's having to play Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Florida, Auburn, Texas A&M. It's different. It's different down here. It's different down here. When your team has won 2 out of the last 3 national championships while having to go through the SEC to do it, it's time to start appreciating it. I'm tired of all this negativity. I just want people to be positive. Can we just be happy when we win? Can we just realize that nothing's going to be perfect? That we're not going to win every game going forward. 10-2 and 11-1 is really good. The goal is to make the playoffs now. The playoffs now are 12 teams. You get inside the playoffs and anything can happen. I'm just saying, I'm going to go back and watch this video and be like, dang it. I had several other really good points to make. But I've said what I've got to say. I know it's been a long video. I hope you still made it to the end. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel. Like I said, we do vlogs. I'm going to do a prediction video coming up here soon. I've even got a video I'm doing this week on my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Subscribe to this channel and watch more videos like this. I didn't want this video to be a negative video. I want this video to be a, man, get over it. Like, cut the bull junk. We're 4-1. We're number 5 in the country. Penn State's about to lose to USC this weekend. Okay? Texas, Georgia's going to go down there and beat Texas. It ain't going to be no time, and we're going to be right back up there. And then we're going to be fighting to make the SEC championship game. And we're virtually a lock for the playoffs. And we've been the best program in the entire country in the last 5 years. Just be happy. Just, it's okay to be happy. It's okay to choose joy. You don't have to be miserable. You don't have to blame Mike Bobo whenever our team puts up 34 points and goes for over 500 yards when we turn the ball over 4 times. Okay? Just be happy. Just root for Georgia. Just believe we're going to win, because that negativity trickles all the way down to the locker room. Do you want us to start losing football games because the fans were negative?